Hey guys, what's up? It's TinyBox here. Welcome back to another video. This is gonna seem really delayed and random. I have not had a chance to talk to you guys about my thoughts on Stranger Things 3 yet. Um, I've just been super busy. I'm in Ohio right now currently, and I will be home I think tomorrow afternoon to evening. So I'll be back uploading, hopefully consistently, stuff like that. um but yeah, as you can see, I have a whole setup here, so I brought that just because my internet at the old house or the new house is terrible. Either way, sorry. Back onto the topic of Stranger Things 3. I loved this season. I honestly think that this is my favorite season of all. And I know it's like generic to say, like when I said when season 2 came out at first, I was like, oh, it's my favorite season so far. And then when season 3 came out, it's my favorite season so far. But I genuinely do think this. Like, it's not like binge watching like fatigue, because I've had like a few weeks now to process this and kind of like review my thoughts on it. If I had to rank the show like by best season to worst, I don't. By worst, I mean like least favorite. But even then, those moments have better things in the other seasons, so it's not like they're not bad or anything. They're like 9 to 10 out of 10s. Um, of course, you can nitpick stuff too, and that's dumb. I hate nitpicking. Can be funny. I like channels that nitpick that like are funny. I like film or channels that like tear terrible films apart. Those are funny. But things that are genuinely like 9 or 10 out of 10, like really good, almost like masterpiece level things, where it's like, well, that's that, and well, technically that's that, and so this is a bad movie. It's like you can nitpick some things, sure, but I just don't see the point in doing that. Like I see the point, but it's almost petty. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I just have a different personality than other people that like to nitpick things. And of course, nitpicking little things that have bothered me in the past before with other shows and movies, where it's like, but some of those things I don't like to view them as nitpicks. I like to view them as like plot holes or something like that. You know what I mean? Regardless, back on to Stranger Things 3. This season is fantastic. I'd probably go 3 is my favorite, 1's my second favorite, and second is my least favorite. But at the same time, 2 it also has some of the best moments in the whole series as well. The only reason I put 2 at the bottom um, is because there was that one misplaced episode with the lost sister, which I think it's an unfair rap, to be completely honest. I really like that episode, but I will put it as my least favorite episode of all time, just in the whole show, because it's so oddly placed. Like if they had that as like, I don't know, placed somewhere differently, or if they just put little scenes in throughout the whole season, I would be less like kind of weirded out by it. But the fact that it's like a big cliffhanger, and then it just completely takes you out of it to this whole new thing, and then it goes back to the cliffhanger. You know, I know it's like a Netflix thing; you can binge watch it all at the same time, so you're not like really losing out on too much. But imagine if you're watching this like week to week, which some people do, which is really weird. Um, it's just weird having that like standalone episode in the middle of a big cliffhanger to the solution of it. But it's not a bad episode. I think people like sure there are some things in it that are kind of bizarre. I think it reminded me of like a lot of the X-Men stuff, but I don't know. Season 3, I need to go back to that. I've been talking about season 2 and 1. But I need to talk about season 3 now because that's what the video's about. I just really love the season, the whole dynamic between all the kids in the group, between Joyce and Hopper, between Jonathan and Nancy, just the awful people at the newspaper. Um, Surprisingly enough, like I remember the cast like talking about this on like some late shows or like the talk shows or Tonight shows or whatever, one of them, and they were always like, "This season's like really, this is the darkest it's ever been," and I can completely agree with that. It really is the darkest the show has ever seen, just because there's a legitimate body count in this season. Like before we hit, but spoiler alerts for seasons 1 through 3, because I'll probably casually mention them, and I don't want some people to be caught off guard. So just spoiler alert for all Stranger Things, or as of this point, 1 through 3. But I remember being like, Barb and Bob are pretty obvious like deaths. Like Barb, maybe not as much, but Bob, you could see his fate coming from a long ways away. He is too likable of a character. he's a new cast member, and just this whole character setting up to be a tragedy, basically. And, that's fine. That is what it is. And I thought Bob was one of my favorite characters of all time in the whole show. But, it was predictable, is what I'm saying. But with this season, it's a lot less predictable. I mean, in some ways, you know what I mean? Because, like, it starts off with just, like, random people in the town just, going missing or whatever. Like, I can't remember the old lady's name. That was, like, the rats exploding and just eating all the fertilizer. Very, very bizarre, creepy stuff. I don't know. Like, just everything about the season's so awesome. Like, I needed to take notes on this, honestly, just because there's so much stuff to talk about. Just like the whole relationship stuff. Honestly, I think I don't know which. There's really no like cast of character, or like not cast characters, but like there's not a group of characters that I found annoying in this season. I never found any of them annoying by any stretch of the imagination. The previous ones, but sometimes it would be like, oh, I want to go see what these other guys are doing rather than like seeing what this is happening or whatever. You know what I mean? But in this season, it's like you're not mad when it switches because everybody's doing something interesting and of value, and that's what I think Stranger Things does the best. It's not like switching to something that's completely like, unintentional, or not unintentional, like unimportant to the plot. There's always a character that's doing something interesting. Like a lot of times in shows like The Walking Dead or Fear the Walking Dead or any time drama show, Survivor type show, you'll have the awesome parts of the characters, and then it will flash to another person or another group of people. And it's like, man, I really just don't care about these guys right now. But in Stranger Things 3 and 2 and 1, it's like, wow, I want this to keep switching. Like, this is awesome. I want to keep getting different highlights of all these different characters. And I don't know who my favorite like grouping up of the season was. Like, I'd probably say I had a lot. It was I don't like. It's impossible for me to say really because everyone had their own perks to like the season. I thought that the Robin and Steve and Erica and Dustin were a great pairing. Um, Erica was really good. I'm glad that towards the end of the season they gave her more of a character, like giving her the Will's toys or whatever, the Dungeons and Dragons stuff, and them saying that she's a nerd or whatever. Because her character was basically one note up until this season of just like calling people nerd or being like sassy to the other characters or whatever, or just like downright rude. And it's funny. Don't get me wrong. It's really funny seeing this. What did she say to Murray? It's like I'm a 10-year-old girl. She said something like really funny line. It was really awesome. But you know what I mean? I'm glad that they're giving her more character than just being angry and just mean. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of almost like how Max at the beginning of the season was like when Eleven came to her when Mike was lying or whatever, and she was just like super like negative and like dump him, blah blah blah, he's lying, say much stuff. But her character's more than just like being snarky or whatever. She actually has like stake in the plot, and so does Erica. Like I'm glad that the characters that could be just one note go past that personality wise, and also like character wise with the plot. They're not just like I'm gonna be this plot device or I'm just gonna be this force. Like you could argue like Max is Max is kind of a plot device for the reason why Mike and Eleven break up at the beginning of the season, but I also think it isn't because it's almost needed for the plot for their relationship almost to like strengthen from that. You know what I mean? Because they're obviously like lying to he's lying to her or whatever. I don't know. It just felt like a really good dynamic. Like it was some of the funniest lines, man, in the whole show are from just their conversations together. Her dumping him, and just I don't know. It was just funny. It was sad. It was like bittersweet. It was not bittersweet. It was like funny, sad. It's not bitter. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking. I don't know what I'm even saying at this point. Let's go on to a different character. Who else was? Oh, dude, everybody in this season was so good. Alexei / Smirnov was awesome. Cannot believe that they killed him off, man. I knew it was coming too. The second that he started being like this likable character, I was like, oh no, it's Bob again. It's Bob. Don't get attached. And then of course you get attached. And then in the second to last episode, I believe, he gets capped by the Terminator guy, the Russian spy, and that's depressing. I'm just glad that they had him have that pivotal moment in this pivotal scene of him winning the darts game at the carnival and winning the it wasn't a Roadrunner doll or something. That was awesome. But just Murray's face, man, as it hits slow motion, I'm almost getting goosebumps right now just talking about it. Just like it's like he has this moment of pure like innocence and happiness on his face, and then I was like, oh no, this is it. No, and then I saw him walking up to him. I was like, oh yeah, no, 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 and then what happened from there. But yeah, that was depressing. Let's talk about another character this season. Hopper was really good. At first, I didn't like his character, to be completely honest, in like the first few episodes. It's understandable though how he's acting. You have to understand like this is a guy that is overprotective of his daughter, and like I felt like he was almost downright evil in some scenes. Like I almost didn't like him as a character in like the first few episodes because he was like doing these downright like malicious things, which I can understand because overprotective dad thing, but I don't know. It just felt really. I don't want to say forced. It was. I don't know. It was whatever. His character definitely improved throughout the season, and I was able to side with him a lot more. And it's not like I disagreed with him his message. It was just the way that he did it. If that makes any sense. I like him. It's like the point of the show, though. He was a flawed character or whatever, an imperfect character that grew throughout the season. And of course, the final episode of the show has him sacrificing himself for basically just close the gate or to destroy the gate or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't see. And then, of course, the after credits scene where it says, not the American. And I might make an entirely different video talking about this just to make it its own one-note video, but I don't. Just the ending message with Eleven and Joyce and everyone reading the. It was Eleven reading it, but Joyce gave her the note of her reading the letter. It just felt so concrete that he was dead, but then she starts losing her powers, which I thought was some kind of like side effect of the thing crawling into her leg. Oh god, that was one of the queasiest scenes ever. Not queasy, but it was just unsettling. Just the worst part of it was it just not even the gore aspect, but just seeing the thing crawl around in the inside of her leg. God, that was gross. Um, but yeah, just the convenience of they're nerfing her powers or whatever. I don't know if it's because of that or she overused them. I'm guessing overuse. Um, but just the convenience of that, coupled with the fact that Hopper's nowhere to be found and he's supposedly dead, it just makes me think like she won't be able to contact him and he's still alive and he's the American in the cage at the end of the season in the post-credit scene. But I don't know if I'd really like that too much because it felt so concrete, the ending. But I don't know. Maybe I saw some person. It was like a Vine or not Vine. Vine doesn't exist anymore. My sister showed it to me. I don't know what it was on. It was some video. The guy was like talking about how it might have been. It was probably the scientist, the Russian just lost their scientist, which I believe was Alexei. So they needed a new scientist, so they took Mr. Clark, which is Scott Clark, the science teacher from Hawkins. That's been a pretty pivotal role in like characters deciding what to do for like towards the end of the season, or even this one at the beginning of the season. It very well may be him, but I honestly don't think it is Hopper or him. For me, I want to think that I would want to say that it's Brenner because Brenner is a character that in season 2 that in season 1 he dies, but it's never shown on screen. The Demogorgon just kind of hops almost on him, if I remember, and then like it just cuts away, so you never really see an actual death. Sorry for the clock going off. It's gonna go off like every 15 minutes. So I gotta quickly wrap this up. Not quickly, but you know what I mean. It's just annoying. It's a really beautiful clock. My grandpa built it. 10 out of 10. But jeez, I hit my desk. what was I saying? The clock just completely threw me off. But I just think it's Brenner because his season 1 death wasn't concrete. Season 2, the guy alludes to the fact that Brenner's alive or whatever, and then he comes back in some flashbacks or some hallucinations. I think in season 2 for 11 in the Lost Sister episode, which I think those parts in Lost Sister were almost some of the best of the season because you get to see her character like kind of choose between good and evil with deciding to spare that guy or kill that guy, and she ends up sparing him. Whatever. I like the Lost Sister. Leave me alone. Um, but I don't. You know what I mean? I don't. Hopper is the obvious choice, right, or the obvious answer solution to who's in the cage, and it very well may be him, and it probably is him. But I would like to think that it's almost like a ploy because it's so obvious. I want it to be somebody different, you know, because Hopper's character, it feels wrapped up. Like he had this awesome moment of redemption where he basically sacrifices himself to stop the gate from, you know, spreading or being opened for the things to come through, and to basically destroy the Mind Flayer, or, you know, supposedly. Did we ever even see the Mind Flayer die? I don't. Oh, the army of Billies. Billy was another. I can't believe I forgot about Billy. Billy's like the best, one of the best actors in the. What's his name? Dacre Montgomery. Docker. I don't know. I butchered his name. I follow him on Instagram, I think, or Twitter, maybe both. I apologize if I mispronounced your name. I definitely did, and I'm so sorry. Um, he is just so awesome. Like everybody was awesome. Everyone deserves an award this season. Like legitimately everybody. Um, but Billy was this character that you just love to hate him. Like he is just like the worst character. And even the beginning of this season, and throughout most of it, he is a pretty terrible person. Like he says some really awful things. But then you get to kind of go into his psyche when 11 goes into his brain, and like you just in back from season 2 when he was getting like verbally abused by his, I think it was his dad, I believe, and or maybe it was his stepdad, I don't remember. And you just see like you see how like the parents and stuff can rub off on the kid, and it's like the kid, is he really to blame because he's brought up in this thing, in this household that was like so mean to him and so abusive. You know, and just seeing the flashback when he was just happy with his mom on the beach, I was like, wow, that's really depressing. So I'm glad they almost brought some redemption for Billy's character, and then of course him sacrificing himself at the end episode, in front of everybody, and just seeing Max's reaction, that was heartbreaking as well. That was so sad. There were so many sad moments in this season, like better than or sadder than all of them. Because like in season 1, you have Barb, and that's like that sucks. But I was never really like emotionally invested in like Barb as much as I was with the other characters. Like sure, it's sad that she died in the show, but I was never like if 11 or Mike or Dustin or Will or Lucas or Hopper or Joyce or anybody, even Murray, would have gotten killed off, I'd feel much greater emotion for those people. Even Alexi this season, I felt more emotion with him than with Barb, because Barb was just like this character. I don't know. Barb is good character. She's a good character, but I never really. Yeah, she just. It was sad that she died, but I don't know. I don't really know how to explain myself with that. But she's like one of my least. She's what the like the one death in the show that I was like, oh, that sucks. But man, I'm just glad it wasn't one of the other characters. That sounds awful to say. I apologize. And Barb's actress is great. Shannon Purser. She's awesome. Go follow her on Instagram and Twitter. Barb's a great character. You know what I mean? I just thought I felt more. Because you've been growing with these characters for 3 seasons, so a person introduced in like a few episodes and they get killed off that doesn't have much screen time anyways, it's like you're less inclined to feel more. You're more inclined to feel more emotion for the people that are like you're watching for 8 hours for 3 seasons, so 25 hours. So there's a 9-episode season. Yeah, I don't know. And there's of course the hour-and-a-half episode. I'm not trying to guess the exact time of the show, but you know what I mean. The characters that you see more on screen, the people that are developed more, even Billy, like a terrible human being from the way he's raised up, and then just the redemption of him. I felt sad for his death, but I was like, this guy went out kind of a hero by taking the Mind Flayer and just getting, or the It wasn't even the Mind Flayer. It is the Mind Flayer, but it was the I don't know if they ever named it. It was the just like the big massive thing that was so cool. Man, there was nobody in this season where I was like, I wish this would switch to another person. Everybody was awesome. Um, Steve and Robin's friendship throughout the whole thing was awesome. Um, I don't like, man, I really don't know. Um, I am really hyped for season 4 now. Almost kind of the ending's so bittersweet because you see the buyers moved houses, and excuse me, from season 1 I almost predicted this happening because of the whole, or at the end of season 1 when you see Hopper. I think it was, did they show Hopper leaving Eggos in the woods? I think they did. Anyways, it was at the beginning of season, or end of season 1 to the beginning of season 2. I always had this thought in my mind. I was like, Hopper, I feel like Joyce is going to end up being the mother of Eleven eventually, or Jane. Just because the way it's presented, because Hopper and Joyce always had this like kind of romantic relationship. It's not really romantic. It was building up to that at the end of season 3. And of course, we all know what happened. But from season 1 in the beginning of 2, I was like, there's just something about the way this is written that I feel like they're going to have her get adopted by Joyce. I don't know why. I just had that like not a premonition, but like just that thought process where I was like, Hopper and her are either gonna get together, get married, and they're gonna like all like move in together, or something bad's gonna happen to Hopper. And unfortunately, it was the latter. And I don't know, man. It's such a good season. If you haven't watched it yet, go watch it. I it what is it? Almost 2 years since the last season came out. It was a year and a half or something. It's a crazy leap in time for the characters and just the us waiting for the show. But I'm so glad that they took the extra time to perfect it. Basically, there was nothing in the season where I was like nitpicky about it. Back to Billy, I'm kind of really curious about the army of Billies in the Upside Down. There was like 5 Billies, and they were like, build it, and then they said we're building it for her, or 11 or whatever. I think they 11. They said, well, yeah, 11 wasn't the thing. She's like, we're building it for you. I almost took that. I know it's supposed to be like the Mind Flayer's like trying to kill her or whatever because she's the one who shut the gate or closed the gate, but I almost interpreted it as like, are they gonna make 11 be like almost the cause of all of this stuff? Is she gonna be like have to sacrifice herself at the very end? Is she going to be like some kind of evil force, or her powers gonna like take her over or something? Because like just the the way that it was phrased was like, we're building it for you. It just felt very, very ominous and almost like double sided, maybe foreshadowing esque. Like, I don't know. I could be completely off on that prediction, but I don't know. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys thought. This is a long video. I apologize profusely if you guys thought this was too long. But I want to talk about Stranger Things 3 a lot more. I'm going to do more stuff about Stranger Things. I have more Scooby-Doo videos planned. I have more videos in general planned. I just have to, be at home to do that because I don't have a lot of time here in Ohio to record because I am spending time with my grandparents as well. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, guys. We are 5 subscribers away from 1,000. If we could hit that sometime, like this month or whatever, that would be so awesome. Like, I have been doing YouTube for 10 years on this platform, off and on different channels. Not off and on. I've been fully on for 10 years on different channels, but not like daily uploading or anything like that, because that would be probably super unhealthy just to vlog for 10 years in a row nonstop. Of course it'd be unhealthy. I don't know, man. It's so crazy. 10 years. I'm going to make a montage of it. It's actually going to be, the 10-year anniversary is going to be coming up in August. I have to check my old channel to see exactly the date, but I'll have a 10-year video coming out for that, and that should be awesome. I'm planning on doing a big video, so hopefully that's awesome and stuff like that. But if you guys like Stranger Things 3 or disliked it, let me know in the comment section down below. If I want to give this number rating, I would just give it a 10 out of 10. There was no part of it where I was like, this is bad or this is dumb. Back to, really quickly before I end off, Will Byers, man. His whole character, I feel so bad for. I just so related to him this season. With the whole moment with him, his friends all moving on, and then he rides home in the rain on the bike, and then he's just like remembering the good old days. Oh, I'm sad about this now. He's remembered the good old days with in his fort with like from season 1, just like them playing Dungeons and Dragons together, and then he's just like, this is stupid. And then he rips up the picture, and then he starts destroying stuff, and then he goes outside in a pouring thunderstorm and the pouring rain, and beats the fort down with was it a baseball bat? I think that was absolutely devastating and heartbreaking. That was like one of the saddest moments in the whole show, of course, other than the deaths. But this desk is really loose. I just moved my arm a little bit, and it just started shaking. But yeah, I just want to talk about that really quick. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. Keep calm and trust your instincts. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Of course, if you want to subscribe or whatever, that's up to you guys. Thanks for watching. Peace out.